I would like to talk to you today about the biggest opportunity that I see in Canadian real estate right now. It comes in the form of something called the Yellow Belt. You might not know what this is. You might live in it and not even know it. You've heard of the Green Belt. The Yellow Belt is everything that you see here in the color of yellow. For all of Toronto's history, you could only build single-family detached houses in this area. And then almost overnight, policy changed it so that you could now build up to 4 units on any of these lots in any neighborhood in the city of Toronto with 0 development charges. Here's an example of a couple houses that have done that. Could you see yourself living in units like this? In one of my previous videos, I told you how the tax cost on a new home is 31% of the total cost structure of that house. And a big portion of that comes from something called development charges. This is a literal arbitrage. An arbitrage is a simultaneous buying and selling of a good at different prices in different markets. Let's say you want to make housing for residents of Toronto. You have 2 options. You can either take an existing piece of land and develop a high-rise building on it, and this process can take up to 6 years and hundreds of millions of dollars. Or you could take an existing house that isn't fulfilling its highest and best use and convert it to a multiplex. Until now, it's been illegal to turn homes into what would fulfill their best use. Could it be that the government was benefiting from all of the taxes that they were getting, or they wanted the market to be in this state of inefficient excess demand so that they could continue to add taxes to the housing product? Anyway, don't listen to me. I'm not an expert. I just play one on YouTube. So you're probably thinking, just cut to the chase. What's the opportunity here? From my perspective, the opportunity is that we have too much house for the amount of people that we have in Canada. And a lot of people think that's completely backwards. We have too few houses and too many people. That's what excess demand is. But statistics would show that we still have too much house, too much square footage, too many bedrooms. On average, baby boomers have 3 vacant bedrooms in their house. Canada has the 3rd largest average house size by square footage in the world after Australia and the US. To me, the opportunity is in these oversized houses. So we now know that we can add up to 4 units to any residential neighborhood in the city of Toronto. To me, the biggest problem is for new owners is cost. It comes down to cost of land and cost of construction. If you want to tear down a house and build a brand new 4-plex from scratch, it's going to cost you $400, $500, $600 per buildable square foot. It's just not viable. Most people don't have that kind of money laying around. In order to get around this construction cost problem, typically the more viable products that are appearing in the city of Toronto are the conversion of these 2 big houses into multiplexes. And interestingly enough, it's also occupied by the people who are downsizing out of those homes today. Our aging population wants to get out of their massive houses. Something like 70% of Canadian household net worth is tied up in the primary residence. In a lot of cases, that equity is going to fund the retirement of an entire generation. And let's say they don't sell. What happens if we see this largest transfer of wealth that we're anticipating seeing, and baby boomers hand all of these properties down to millennials? What are we going to do as millennials with all of that excess square footage? We don't have vinyl records to store anywhere or VHSs. We don't have giant tube TVs or books. Everything that we need is right here. And so our demand for square footage is significantly lower than our parents' generation. As we see record population growth and more young people needing less space, the obvious opportunity here is to start cutting up these excessively built homes. If you want to do this, what do you need to do? You need to find a house that's big enough to accommodate more than 1 unit. You don't have to build 4 units. You can build 2, you can build 3. 4 is just the maximization of the policy. So you have to find a house that you can build 4 units in the city of Toronto. You got to pay for that house, so you need to get a mortgage. And then you need to find a contractor who's capable of doing that renovation for you. You need to go get building permits before you do that. You don't even have to do this as an investor. You could do this as a homeowner. House hacking is an incredibly popular phenomenon among the young generations, and a lot of people like multiplex living. You could buy a big house and cut it into 3 units and have the 2 other units pay your mortgage for you. We are doing projects like this on a regular basis for investor clients. And this is something that I'm incredibly passionate about doing because I think that this is a meaningful way for regular people to play a role in the solution of the housing crisis. So it's something I'd love to help you with. It's something I'd love to talk to you about. Feel free to leave me a comment. Feel free to send me an email with the email in the show notes, and let's have a conversation about it. Let's see if we can't start building some multiplexes in the city of Toronto.